Welcome to section 9.4 of genetics. In this section, we'll be memorizing the details of Friedreich ataxia. Let's get started. This scene is taking place back during the time of the Civil War. All of these guys inside the gated area were slaves, and some of their friends are freeing them. When you think of Friedreich ataxia, you should think of this gate being opened and these guys being freed from slavery. So freed for Friedreich ataxia. Friedreich ataxia is an autosomal recessive trinucleotide repeat disorder. The gate that's being opened should help you remember that this disorder results in a staggering gait. As this band of men have gone from place to place freeing their friends, their group has gotten bigger and they've become known as the Georgia Abolitionists. If you look closely at the back of their shirts, you can see the words GA Abolitionist. GA stands for Georgia, so they are the Georgia Abolitionists. These words should help you remember that Friedreich ataxia is a trinucleotide repeat disorder caused by GAA repeats. So Georgia Abolitionists for GAA repeat. These freedom fighters have started using dogs to help them out, so notice that this guy is holding a dog on a leash. The dog is part of their special K9 unit. This should help you remember that the trinucleotide repeat occurs on chromosome 9. So K9 for chromosome 9. Okay, notice that the building in the background is labeled Federal Tax Enforcement and that there are iron bars around the windows of this building. The building should help you remember that the defective gene in this disorder is frataxin, which is an iron-binding protein. So think of the word tax for frataxin, and the iron bars covering the windows for iron-binding protein. Mitochondria normally bind iron as part of the normal metabolism during heme synthesis, and it's also a part of cytochrome C oxidase in the electron transport chain. Therefore, disruption of the frataxin gene results in mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay, let's move on and discuss some of the findings of Friedreich ataxia. Notice that the building now has some pillars near the entrance. These pillars, or columns, should help you recall that this disorder results in degeneration of the dorsal columns. So columns for dorsal columns. Now notice that the pillars are covered in spiny vines. The spines should help you remember that this disorder results in degeneration of the spinocerebellar tract. So spine for spinocerebellar tract. Let's talk about this guy on the ladder. The ladder was initially being used to get into the compound, but this guy started falling off, so they found a way to open up the gate instead. The ladder is used to represent that Friedreich ataxia results in degeneration of the lateral corticospinal tract. The guy falling off the ladder should help you remember that this disorder results in frequent falling. Next, notice that this guy at the top of the stairs is sneaking into the compound on his tippy toes. All of the Georgia abolitionists have had to be very quiet to avoid being caught. So this guy sneaking into the compound with the arches of his feet shown up high at the top of the screen should help you remember that this disorder results in pes cavus. Pes cavus is a type of foot that is characterized by a high arch. So tippy toes and a high arch should help you remember pes cavus. This guy right here has a bunch of cool looking dyed beads in his hair, which is our symbol for diabetes. You should know that Friedreich ataxia can cause diabetes mellitus. So dyed beads for diabetes. Next, we'll add in these carts that the Georgia abolitionists have brought with them. The carts carry some of their supplies, but they've also made a memorial of skulls on top of the carts to help them remember all the people they've lost fighting for freedom. Notice that the carts have sheets of metal on the outer aspect of the cart that protects it from damage. This thick armored cart should make you think of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Cart for cardiomyopathy and thick armor for a thick or hypertrophic heart. The memorial of skulls in this crooked line should help you think of kyphoscoliosis. So skull for scoliosis, and the crooked line helps reinforce the idea that scoliosis is characterized by an abnormal curvature of the spine. As the Georgia abolitionists were sneaking into the compound, someone spotted them, so they had to tie him up and duct tape his mouth shut. The tape over this guy's mouth represents dysarthria. He can't speak because his mouth is all taped up. So taped mouth for dysarthria. This other guy was trying to fight back, so one of the Georgia abolitionist guys punched him in the face. Notice that as he got punched, his eyes started to spin. This should help you remember that this disorder can cause nystagmus, which is a condition where the eyes make repetitive, uncontrolled movements. Finally, this guy over here was prying open the gate with his hammer when he accidentally dropped it on his toes, and now he's grimacing in pain. The hammer on his toe should help you remember that this disorder results in hammer toes. This is a condition where there's an abnormal bend in the middle joint of the toe. And with that, you should have most of the details you need to memorize for Friedreich ataxia. And that concludes this section.